Good morning, everybody. This is Rachelle with Grief Recovery with Rachelle. So I had a young friend recently request that I watch the new show 13 Reasons Why. It was a great show. And so I watched it basically this whole week. There hasn't been a whole lot of sleeping going on because I was a little obsessive. But I thought the show was really good as it progressed. At first, I had a massive attitude, if I'm just being honest, because I thought, why on earth is what's so different about bullying today versus bullying back then? I mean, I was bullied, for Pete's sake, at different times in my life. Bullying stinks no matter when it happens, but then it finally clicked in. The difference today is, I think, social media and, I don't know where my phone is, but cell phones. There's constant feed. So the kids don't get to take a break when they leave school. The bullying just continues to happen, and it happens so fast. You, instead of telling a person or two or four with pagers, we used to have pagers when I grew up, it's happening to a massive amount of people at such a rapid pace, and then it's forwarded and forwarded and forwarded and posted and all of these things. So actually bullying today is different. I get it. I was slow to understand. But then I thought about, toward the end of the show, I hope you get to watch the show. It's very, very, very good. But the end of the show, it clicked in my mind about, it's all just really about grief. I mean, the whole show is about grief. And I was thinking about unresolved grief, how the little things that you should say or you want to say and that you don't say or do, the things you want to do and you should do and you don't do, how those build up over time to be called grief. It's unresolved grief. So this show had a ton of that. I mean, that was just basically the whole darn show. And then I thought about communication, how so much, any one step could have been prevented if people had told the truth. I'm trying not to tell anything about the show, not details, but if we tell the truth. So that's something that we focus on in my class. Each step we talk about it. We have the commitments that we talk about each week, which is, that everything is confidential. But also the very first one is to tell the truth with no intent to deceive. And the reason is we can't work on what we don't acknowledge. We can't receive help what we don't want to bring awareness to. I would love to have the ability to just look into your soul and pluck out the things that are hurting you. I simply can't do it. And you can't do it either unless you're willing to really look at what is going on in your life, in your heart, in your mind. So telling the truth. So the show was about unresolved grief for me. The different things that should have been said and weren't, and they just built up to cause grief. And then also, people weren't telling the truth. And so many different times they would be asked, a child would be asked, an adult would be asked, and they just simply wouldn't tell the truth about themselves. And so the grief would continue, and it just accumulates, it compiles, it smacks on, and you're full of grief. And it doesn't go anywhere. I hope we're learning that grief just does not go away because we don't want to look at it. So, but then I thought about telling the truth about yourself is really hard to do. Just jump the gun. If parents of every children, if adults who have contact with children, if adults themselves aren't keeping open communication lines with somebody who would be in a position to help you with your grief, it's kind of hard to expect a child, especially who's so overly consumed about what people are thinking about them. It's going to be next to impossible for them to tell the truth about themselves if that standard hasn't already been set on a regular basis. If kids feel like they're going to be judged, they aren't going to talk with you. If kids feel like as soon as I open my mouth, I'm going to be shut down because, I don't know, whoever I'm talking to isn't really listening, they're going to shut down. I shut down. My poor husband, if he doesn't say the right thing, sometimes I'm like checked out in my heart. The poor man, he has so much work inside of me to put up with. But with our kids, they're so delicate, they're so precious. And I hope that over time, you're building up a regular, comfortable flow of communication with your kids so that when they have something big to tell you, they'll have the courage and the confidence to do it. But also that you'll teach them to stay truthful. Tell the truth about themselves just on a daily basis with the small things. If it's an I love you, say I love you. If it's I'm going to miss you, say I'm going to miss you. If it's I'm really sad, say I'm sad. Let's slowly start building up truthful communication between ourselves and our children, just all over the place. Let's start tackling grief when it happens. And then perhaps it just won't build up to be these huge problems that need me or any other grief recovery specialist. That would be an amazing world. Sorry for the beep. Anyhow, I love you. I hope that you have a wonderful day, that you find this little tiny video helpful, maybe something insightful in it for you. Give me a comment or a like or a share. I'd really appreciate it because I like to know what you're thinking. So I love you. I'll talk with you soon.